asking what happens to those children once they're separated from their parents. Well, they're brought here to a facility where they're taken care of by the federal government. This is as far as our cameras are allowed to go. You can see it says keep out, private property. And this facility is so big, it used to be a Walmart supercenter.
And this is what it looks like inside. This footage shot by the Department of Health and Human Services during a tour we took of the facility. This mega shelter is nearly at capacity, close to 1,500 boys, 10 to 17 years old. Since May, nearly 700 children have been separated from their parents. At this facility in Brownsville, children are allowed 2 calls a week and are allowed outside only 2 hours a day. From what we can see, for the most part, the shelter is well staffed. The children are taken care of.
Children in cages, children in prison-like conditions, in Walmarts, Walmart camps, if you will. Are these children being used as a bargaining chip by the Trump administration in order to build a wall? Some would have you think so. I'm learning a little bit about it myself today. I'm here to separate fact from fiction as well as possible. Like Ben Swan says, do a reality check for you and go through the news as we've been going through it today. Watch the press briefing. It was popular. It was a busy show for Sarah Sanders. And the director of HHS, I believe, is who was answering questions. And you'll see a little bit of that press briefing. People are pretty up in arms about children being separated from their parents and being held in these holding pens. A lot of people are calling them cages. There are pictures being spread on social media of children in what appear to be cages. Some of those might not actually be real. I'm going to show you that. We're going to get a full all-around reality check on this situation. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. Doshi is here. He's the show's producer. We have a sponsor, which is a company that belongs to us, actually. It's called Truth Revolution Clothing. We just came out with this shirt design, what it is, Lift the Veil. You can go to truthclothing.io. We just got that big shipment of shirts anyway. We're a real organization. Everything you spend there goes directly to support this show and this small business. Truthclothing.io, you see everything lined up here. We have girls or women's designs, as well as unisex designs, bumper stickers, Doshi stickers, mugs, everything you can want to celebrate the Lift the Veil show, or just wear something cool, like a Russian bot shirt or Truth Matters shirt. That's all at Truth Revolution Clothing, truthclothing.io. Debunked. Even Snopes debunked one of them. Take a look at this story from CNN, which came out today. A picture was spreading around social media of a child in a cage. There's the child right there. That was shared all over social media. Journalist and filmmaker Jose Antonio Vargas posted the photo last week on Twitter saying, quote, "This is what happens when a government believes people are illegal. Kids in cages." There's the tweet right there. Well, it turns out that that picture was actually from a protest where they built mock cages and put children inside in order to illustrate what they saw as an issue of children. Obama administration era photo of this photo here, and I believe another photo here, which were also said to have been the result of the Trump administration's policies, when in fact these pictures are from the year 2014 when Obama was in office. And the tweet went out and went viral, and one of the people that shared that tweet was President Obama's former speechwriter, Jon Favreau. He tweeted out, quote, "This is happening right now." This was at the end of May, ladies and gentlemen. "This is happening right now, and the only debate that matters is how we force our government to get these kids back to their families as fast as humanly possible," unquote. He later deleted the tweet after figuring out that he made a mistake. He explained that the photos were taken in 2014.
Children can be taken care of quickly, beautifully, and immediately. The Democrats forced that law upon our nation. I hate it. I hate to see separation of parents and children. The Democrats can come to us as they actually are, in all fairness, we are talking to them, and they can change the whole border security. We need a wall. We need border security. We got to get rid of catch and release. You catch a criminal, you take his name, you release him, and he never shows up again. He goes into our society. And then we end up getting him in a different way, oftentimes after he's killed somebody. We've got to change our laws. The Democrats have control because we don't have the votes. I want the laws to be beautiful, humane, but strong. I don't want bad people coming in. I don't want drugs coming in. And we can solve that problem in one meeting. Tell the Democrats, your friends.
Hey folks, and welcome to another video from aplaintruth.info. Today we're going to get into the whole immigration thing and where it's leading and why it's not exactly what you think it is, because it's not just a Democratic Republican issue where we vote Congress. We have less than 10% approval rating of Congress, and whether you're a Trump guy or Obama guy or whoever you think is running the show, you need to think again, folks. This stuff's been going on. These are pictures from 2014 when it was going on. And they look at this. Each writer had to even share these images on Twitter, believing it was the Trump presidency. They're just playing right hand to left hand, folks, when they're not showing you what's in the left hand, while the right hand, whether it be Trump or whether it be Obama or anybody else, you're going to go and give your powers away by voting for someone else to fix all your problems. That this is going to stop. It's not going to stop until we stop it, folks. We have to take action. We have to begin now. All right, so this is another very disturbing article from Blacklisted News. Chilling NCMEC report shows 88% of missing sex trafficking kids comes from U.S. foster care. Child Protection Services, not to be noted here, the ads are for pretty Asian women who seek single men. I mean, it's kind of a paradox juxtaposition. They're talking and advertising against what they're reporting on, but that's nothing new. All right, so free thought. America has a dark secret that no one wants to admit. Despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary, many in mainstream media and government refuse to see the very real epidemic of child sex trafficking in the United States. The vast majority of portion of these kids are coming from a country's own foster care system. Children are being needlessly ripped from homes such an alarming rate that hundreds of parents in one state have gone as far to create counter-kidnapping organizations to stop their own government from stealing children and putting them as sex slaves. In a federal court Tuesday, a judge struck down Minnesota's current child protection laws for being too expansive and removing children from loving and safe homes without due process. A judge had to rule against them doing this. This legal kidnapping is happening in states across the country and contributing to the very real epidemic of child trafficking. The reality of such practice is outright horrifying. The United States Congress established the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and as part, they have received $40 million to study and track. And its NCMEC assisted law enforcement with 27,000 cases of missing children in 2017. According to their most recent report, 25,000 runaways reported to NCMEC in 2017. 1 in 7 were likely to become victims of child sex trafficking. Of those, 88% were in the care of social services when they went missing. All right, then it goes on to chronicle the abuse. Government organizations have corroborated this horrifying trend. FBI Nation rated 60% of victims came from foster care. New York authorities estimated 85% of sex trafficking were previously in the child welfare system. Connecticut police rescued 88 children from sex trafficking. 86 were from the child welfare system. We could go on and on and on. It's not just about the immigrants. Wake up, folks. Activate. This country's going down the toilet, and they're taking our children first, and they're separating the children from the parents. This is just the beginning. Well, I truly hope this is all very, very disturbing to all of you caring listeners as well. But one thing I want to emphasize is the hopium, the positive here, and is that we have the answers if we just start treating each other with loving kindness. We have plenty of abundance, folks, if we just accessed it. We have free energy we've had for 100 years. Can you imagine what the world would look like if we all had free energy? There'd be no more governments. There'd be no more wars. But we got big, big problems. They're spraying us with geoengineering like bugs. The intensity has gone over the roof the past couple months, being recorded all over the world, the intensified spraying as they're locking us down and clamping us down. Now we need to go back to our roots. We need to go back to where we came from, because they lived in harmony for tens of thousands of years and nature was not destroyed. And so we need to go back home. If you don't have a problem with immigrants and you're a white European, you need to go home. They came here and they gave all the Native Americans blankets, right? And they gave them all smallpox, and they eliminated the population, folks, by some 96% of Native Americans. The Europeans coming across the pond. So who are the illegal immigrants? Who are the American terrorists? And I want to bring your attention to history because we don't know it. Do you guys know this flag? Does anyone know what this flag represents? It's the East Indian Tea Company. It's the ones the British supposedly, we threw the tea in the harbor, the Patriots did, that started the whole revolution. No, it's the same guys. Alexander Hamilton running the money supply was British nobility. Does this look any different today than Nazi Germany? Well, it doesn't, folks. You know why? Because the guys running the show are the same people that were running the show way back then for the past 500 years, using the sock puppets like Trump, like Obama, like Hitler, like Stalin. They were all beholden to the Jesuits and the Vatican and the ones that were really running the show. Now, when Trump says undocumented immigrants are not people, they are animals, what's he saying? He's saying we don't care about you. You're human resources. And look at this. California GOP, they have Nazism as one of their platforms, the first in their platforms, until it was brought up, and then they had to strike it because it got too much attention. And look at just the acquisition of Monsanto by Bayer. Bayer acquires them, a Nazi company. They help make the gas for the Holocaust as well. And what about Operation Paperclip, folks? Bringing in over 3,300 Nazi Germany's, the worst, the ones that were the torture specialists, brought them in to help run NASA and Bayer and whatever. So when you talk about terrorism, when you talk about American terrorism and immigrants, we need to point the one finger we're pointing at others. Look at the three fingers pointing at yourselves, folks. You're all derivatives of, if you're of white descent, from the Euro trash that came across and eliminated 97.6% of the Native Americans that were here, took over their lands, gave them treaties, put them on reservations, and then broke every treaty. That's our history. And now we're the biggest purveyors of violence. We kill more than anybody. We spend more than anybody on violence and killing. Look at this bomb dropping on children. Look at the wars we've all started and the trillions that have been spent, where they have effectively killed the entire anti-war movement. There is no more anti-war movement anymore, and nobody seems to care. Well, who are the real purveyors of violence, I keep asking? Is it Iran? Is it Syria? Is it North Korea? Is it China? Is it the Russians? All they have to do is create just another false flag event, and everybody buys it because all they watch is CNN and Fox News. Well, we're having now roadways, watch out for zombies, because people are going to be walking on the streets in zombie land, is what they're predicting on these road signs. And FEMA's running the show, folks. Good job, Brownie, as Bush said when Brown let the people drown in New Orleans, and then we had Hurricane Harvey, and now out here with the directed energy attacks on Santa Rosa, they bring in another FEMA guy, James Lee Witt, who brings in all his Indian and Chinese immigrants with the E5 and E6 visa programs he's creating and profiting from. And what are they erecting, folks? What are these immigrants coming in? They're erecting sheds to live in. This is the sheds being constructed on the Medtronic's corporate headquarters, a Hewlett-Packard Corporation, which also makes the laser-guided devices of Keysight Technologies right down the road. Portland, what are they doing? They're converting prisons into homeless shelters. What are they? They're prisons, and they're going to put the homeless in here. Are you starting to get the idea? I put an article out here about the small stack and packums going on in Portland. People think it's a good idea, but it's on private property, folks. They're going to be able to do the same thing as Blackwater, Macy's, private property. They're taking in the homeless. They're going to be able to use private property and not be, they have corporate personhood, so they're not culpable for anything that happens. happens to them. This is all part of the game to corporatize everything, the corporations. And how about Sam Walmart, founder of Walmart? What did he do? Well, he founded the Japanese internment camps. Now what's happening to Walmart today? They're becoming internment camps and resettlement camps, folks. It couldn't be any clearer if you have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a mind to think. Look at the construction, folks. What do they look like? A new mall or a prison system being developed? What do you think all the brick and mortar retailers, over 8,000 have shuttered in the past year and a half, are going to be used for? They're going to be used for our incarceration, every one of us. What do you think the Jade Helm exercises, the master of the human domain with arrows and swords, is all about? And what do you think, the Walmart's doing in the underground? They're putting in detainment centers underground so you don't see. Out of sight, out of mind. No one has to think about it, but they're in bed with the U.S. Army. And you don't think the U.S. Army would take on the same citizens or take on their own veterans? Think again. Go back to the bonus army, the people from World War I, the veterans that were promised $1.50 a day for every day they served. When they weren't paid during the Great Depression, they marched on Washington, D.C., and General Dwight Eisenhower firebombed them out, removed every one of the veterans with the U.S. Army at the direction of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. This has been going on for a very long time, but it's getting worse, and it's coming home to roost in major league ways that we can all look, touch, and feel. So get active, spread this video, share with others. This is not acceptable. Hell no, we will not accept this. Speak out, be heard, but most of all, become an activist in action, whatever that means to you. Start somewhere, use what you got, do something, and speak out. Plain truth out. Peace.